Lance and welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, it's been a good week, but first the weather report. 15 to 25 this week, so we had our 10 degrees between our coldest and our warmest, so that was good. This morning there's a little bit of a sneaky breeze around, so nice clear skies, so I expect it'll get cold as cold this evening anyway. Might get to 9 or 10 or something like that. So for all you people having minuses and zeros and all that, look, just pack up, eh? Just pack up and whiz up to Bundy. We got plenty of spare blocks around town here, and a few acres next to me here, and all that. So yeah, just sell out, and won't take you long. A couple of hours drive, you'll be here. But look, this week it has been a great week. A couple of things to look at first is, and the first one I'd like to get out there is last week I had a whinge about Hare and Forbes and the process that involved checking that I was the owner of my credit card and then missing out on the tax deduct and all that sort of thing. And it really pissed me off at the time. And Hare and Forbes jumped on my channel and apologised and made a comment under last week's stew. And Kenny Thurston, he chucked my stew out on the Hare and Forbes Facebook page, and so I got a response from them as well. And I suppose they acted, they jumped on it quickly. And the thing with having a problem in a business or personally or something like that, I run my own business for over 20 years now, around 20 years, and we do stuff up and we piss customers off ourselves from time to time and things like that. But it's how you deal with it that decides whether the customer returns to your business or not. And if you just ignore it and tell them to whop it up their ginger, you've lost a customer for life, and you've lost their mates and anyone associated with them more than likely. If you act on it, you deal with it in a fair manner, come to an agreement with the customer and deal with it quickly is the main thing. You can save face, you can save a customer, and you can continue on the relationship and do things better. So the latter is what Hare and Forbes did. Last week I had a call from Peter. He's the branch manager of Brisbane that I was dealing with. And he rang me personally and had a chat last week and apologised about the process, but he brought forward the problem with the world that we live in, with credit cards over phones and even through a clearinghouse like eBay that I use with my business. There is credit card fraud, and this is what they're doing to stop themselves getting burnt. And apparently in their industry they've been getting hit quite a lot. So this is what they've come up with. I've suggested PayPal. With PayPal, PayPal sort of takes it on board a little bit more than probably eBay would, and PayPal does the process of verifying your credit card or your bank account and all that before you get to the checkout. So from Hare and Forbes' point of view, I reckon PayPal would be a great option. And I have PayPal as an option in my business, and it gets used quite a lot. And people can just come in, bang, pay with their credit card via PayPal, or if they have money in the bank from selling stuff or something. So I spoke to Peter about that, but what they offered was the amount of tax that I couldn't claim was a bit over $200, and which is not life and death, that's for sure. But what they offered is to make things right with me is they've given me a store credit for that amount because they couldn't get it processed in time in a busy moment and all that. So and look, I accepted that. I've accepted their apology, and we're going to move on from there. But they jumped on it quickly. We come to an agreement on a fix. So it's all over. Problem solved. The $210 credit I have at Hare and Forbes, what they've done there is they might have given me a $210 credit, but you can bet I won't just spend $210. It'll probably be 4 or 5 or 6 of it. Yeah, it'll be considerably more, probably. I haven't decided what I want to buy with it yet or what I need yet. So anyway, good on you, Hare and Forbes. It's all right to sink the boot in when things aren't as you expect, but it's just as important to get back and tell people when things are made right. So job done. There's no more of a problem there in my mind. Another good bit of news for the week was with my tractor repairs. I sell tractor parts for a living. As you all know, I own a business called Queensland Tractor Spares, and after mechanicking for many years, well, I just spent 40 years with spanners in the hand, and I no longer have workshops. I just have the tractor parts business, and one of our major dealerships that we sell for is Sparex, and Sparex is an English company, and they're an aftermarket tractor company, but they're also owned by AGCO. Now AGCO owns Fendt, Massey Ferguson, and a few other brands that I just can't think of, Challenger I think, and Sparex have come on board with Bundy Bear's shed, and the tractor repair videos that I do here, such as restoring my 1948 TEA 20, Sparex have offered the free of charge any parts I need for that tractor, parts that they have, you know, if it's something that they don't stock or don't have in their catalogue, well, I have to source it from somewhere else. But Sparex have come on board with Bundy Bear's shed to sponsor any tractor parts for doing up to 1948 or any other tractors we do. In return, there'll probably be a Sparex background somewhere. I've always worn my Sparex hat. These orange hats are Sparex hats, and they've looked after me for years, Sparex, with that sort of thing. We've got a great rep, James. But I had him up for a yarn, and we explained the power of what we do here. And I don't know if I've told you, but we sell a Sparex injection pump seal kit, and I put a video out way in the early days of that, and we went from 14 injection pump seal kits per year to around that per month. And over the period we've run it, or since the video come out, that video has generated about $5,000 worth of sales. And so I could sit them down and show them that, and so they've come on board. So that's a great thing. What I wanted to tell them though, or what we've agreed on is, I'll do the parts, I'll get the parts off them, I'll fit them as per normal. Nothing will change really. As per normal, I'll fit the parts, I'll explain to people how to fit them, which is the main thing about my tractor things, is to show people how to do stuff. But if one of their kits doesn't fit or something's up the shit with a particular part, I'm going to say it. But in saying that, that won't happen often. They do have very good quality parts. So now and then you'll have a problem with a part, and we've had problems with a Sparex part or with a Bearco part or with a Bepco part or something like that. But with me fitting the part here, I might find a problem they're not aware of. I can tell them about it, and they can get into it. And they have Speco or Spenco, the Sparex engineering company over in England, and that's where they make a lot of their shafts and splines and things like that. So even if they buy a part from elsewhere, from another supplier, it has to go there, they were telling me the other day, to be checked out, you know, to be measured up and make sure the hardness is correct and all that sort of thing before they send it out. So on the Sparex website, you'll see a blue Spenco next to a product, and that means they've made it. So, and that's getting more and more, so they must be cranking that up, and they would probably be making the Massey Ferguson parts, some of them, you know, particularly for the older products and all that there, I'd imagine. So look, that's a great thing. Another part of the deal, so we're all up front about it all, is any part that I do show fitting on my T20, I'll stock that, I'll have that part on my website with a link in the description on the video, and I'll also have a link to the Sparex website where people can go and buy their parts. So if they're in Australia, they can drop into my website, queenslandtractorspares.com.au, and buy that part that I've just fitted. Or if they're overseas somewhere, they can actually hop onto the Sparex website, find a dealer in their area, and the part numbers will be available for them. So, so look, that's a great thing. For what I do, it's a great thing. It's a big help. Doing these tractors, it costs a few $1,000s in parts for each one. And Sparex asked me for a list the other day on what I want for this Fergie. I've given them a list. Some of the parts aren't in Australia, but they're flying them in for me. So look, you can't get much better than that. So look, I'm tickled pink with that. So thanks James and John and all the Sparex crew that are, Matthew, all the Sparex crew that are on board with that. We've dealt with them. They've come to trade shows with us and all that over the years. So so we're cranking that up a level. So that's great. Another thing is, I've got to say thank you to all my subscribers. I hit 3,000. Here's me thinking me and Harold shared the same 3 viewers, but no, we've gone to 3,000. I think we're up to 630,000 views and things like that. So the channel's just sparking along nicely. Just something that started as a bit of a hobby, and I saw other people doing it, and I thought, wow, I wouldn't mind a crack at that, and I do enjoy it. I've built up friendships from it. People I wouldn't have had a chance of knowing before, I know now, and so yeah, it's a great thing. So look, thanks for all my subscribers and all those that get in and watch, and don't forget, watch a few ads for me, because I got to eat. Well, we won't go there, but anyway, we'll see how it all goes. And the postie came, and I got a sticker from Harold from Amateur Redneck Workshop, and I never realised your logo, Harold, had that little bullet in the centre. I couldn't see that on my stuff, and I reckon it's a cracker logo. Look, I've put you under Phil and Pierre, and you've got your own little corner, you fellas, with the Fordson Tractor Club, but your own little corner, so I don't want you mucking up there. So yeah, try and behave. I've just finished rendering the video on doing the 5C collet chuck and the backing plate, and I did the backing plate, and I checked everything that I did on the backing plate, and my backing plate was no run out at all, beautiful. And actually my back's nearly sore from patting myself on it really, but anyway, but the collet chuck has a bit of run out in it. But I've just this morning I've just put the videos out there for that, which was an interesting thing. It took a long time. A fair bit of last weekend, and probably the best part of a day went into making the backing plate and just checking things. You know, there's a taper to get the backing plate onto, then there's the pegs to make and, you know, mill out. And I'll tell you what, my milling setup for doing the pegs in that plate wasn't a very good one, but look, it worked, but nowhere near best practice. Not a chance of that. But anyway, look, it worked. With the pegs, if I can find one here. No, I must have put them back. With the pegs, you come in with a 3/4 end mill, but it's not a true 3/4. It's instead of a complete semicircle, one has a ramp on it that the cam locks go into. So I had to do that on the grinder and on the belt sander, and look, that turned out great. The job's good now. It's within half a thou, and that's probably many days I'm not within half a thou. So I'm happy with that job. It's a great thing. But the reason I went 5C collet is I have ER32 collets, and the reason I'm mentioning this is on the YouTube Machinist Facebook page. There's people going, you know, saying, why would you buy a Chinese chuck? And well, you know, when it's $1,000 for a good quality one out of the States, a Hardings or something like that, and you get a Chinese one for $200, well, you know you're going to have a fiddle. That's just how it is. So, But I have ER32 collets that I use in the mill a lot, ER40 collets which go bigger than the ER32. When I first bought my lathe, I bought a 5C collet adapter to go up into the hollow bore, and I was never happy with it. You had a big hand wheel out the other end, and if you wanted to change something, you had to undo that. And I just didn't like that setup particularly. So I never used the 5C collets an awful lot, but with my little model engine I hope to get back into again. Now I've got the collet chuck set up. The reason I've gone with 5C is with 5C collets, you can have a round collet that's up to 1 1/16", I think, and also what I could have done is put a collet block in the 4-jaw chuck, put a square collet block in the 4-jaw chuck, zeroed it in and done that, but every time you want to change a part you've got to pull it out and dick about, so I wasn't real keen on that. So yeah, the reason I went 5C was I do have round up to 1 1/16", which in model engineering that's a big thing. Like most things are 5/8 or 3/4 even big, but they also make a hex collet, and I have hex collets right down to 1/4 I think, or maybe smaller, 3/16. Well, I'd have to look that up. But so what that does for us is I can put a bit of hex bar in, bit of brass, bit of steel, whatever, bit of hex bar in here, and a lot of the nuts in the old days had a rounded front edge on them and a parted off back edge, a splat back edge. So I can put a bit of hex in and make my nuts, bore them and make the nuts for things quickly and easily, and it saves me milling up a bit of hex each time. So they make a hex one, and just this week all these red boxes here, they're square, and so the square ones only go down to 1/4, and it may not be small enough. I was thinking I might make something to put in it, but we'll just see. So, but a lot of the old stuff, if you're copying an old chaff cutter or something like that, or like my little baler, some of the nuts were square back in the olden days. So this gives us the option to bang a bit of square in, round it out at the end to make a rod, if you're making a yoke, or chuck it in the mill, hold the square and just run it through, and you can index it quickly. So that's why I've gone 5C with that. There's a bit of a discussion on what holds the best and all that, but for my particular job here I don't care, as long as it works. So that's a good thing, but you can see the postie's been, it's sort of like Christmas really, isn't it? But I'll just run through some of that stuff with you, and I did a bit of shopping at Aussie last week, and just for setting up on the mill and that, I bought a 75 by 50 mil engineer's square, and I do have a larger square, probably so big, but it's sometimes when you're setting something up in the vise, it's just a bit large. So I bought that little fella, and I bought a couple of indicator holders for the mill for tramming something in. Like they're 10 or 12 bucks each or something, and I couldn't make them for that. This one has a hole for a holder, and it also has a mini dovetail, and this fella here, he just goes out onto the stem, onto your drive stem on your mill, and clamps in, and yeah, away we go. And look, it's just CNC cut out of a bit of aluminium and aluminum for you overseas fellas, and that will do the job if I remember where that fell and don't lose it later. While I was at 5C, I got 5C on the head today. While I was at Aussie, I bought an arbor to hold slitting saws and things. Now, I do have a couple of small arbors, but I actually ballsed it up when I bought this. I have a little involute gear cutting set that I'm going to do the gears for my small engine in shortly, and they're 22 mil inside, and I didn't read the thing properly. So what I ended up with was a 1/2 inch with a key, and I do have some 1/2 inch centered slitting saws and things, but I meant to buy the 7/8 one, so I'm keeping this, and in keeping this I've just ordered the other one. But look, it didn't turn out too bad. What I also ordered off Aussie was, what they were offering was a Jacob's chuck with a live centre, and I thought that'd be good for putting in my tailstock, something on the little fine stuff. I can hold it and support it at the other end a bit better than just with a centre. So, but they buggered it up on me, and what happened was, instead of sending me the live arbor for it, they just sent me a standard Morse tape tuber with the J6 on the end. So I rang them about that, and they're going to send me the correct arbor for it. And I had also bought a couple of Morse taper 3:2 adapters, because I find every second drill I need to go to, I'm knocking the arbors off and going again. So what we're going to do is have an MT3 arbor with a live centered chuck on it for for just holding stuff. And the other option with this is, once you tighten something in there, you can put a tap in there, a threading tap in there, and you can bring it up to the job. I can just hang on to here and let it feed up in. Then when I want to let it go, I can just let go of that, and it'll just rotate freely with the job. So there's a few good things about it when I thought about it. So we'll see how that goes. I bought a heap of air tools, and so I bought a job lot of Nitto fittings. I use Nitto, they have a better hole in the guts than normal, better flow. So I've used some of them already. While I was shopping at Aussie, I can't get the top of that, so I can't use it. I bought a set of thread wires. Now, watching Joe Pazinski and some of those fellas, they have the thread wires, and for measuring the threads, and I've never used them. I've never known. Well, look, I've seen people use them, but I've never used any myself. So I thought they were cheap enough. So I thought, well, look, I'd like to try them. So we've got some thread wires to do a few threads with. What else? A little cut-off wheel. It's just a little 3-inch cut-off saw in a die grinder. I have a heap of die grinders. I have right angle ones, and I have different jobs for different ones. You know, I have gasket ones, I have cut-off ones, I didn't have a cut-off one with a guard on it. So I bought that off eBay. Look, $30, $25, $30, you can hardly go wrong. Then a nibbler, an air nibbler, and that's going to be for the Fergie, for some of the panel work and all that we're going to be doing on it, just to do some nice round cuts, and look, I'll find a lot of uses for that. And then this fella here, he actually puts this crease in a panel. If you have a panel here and you want to bring a patch panel in or something like that, it'll do a little step in it, so it backs up and you're not welding into something with no backing on it. So I haven't used that yet. That'll be interesting to have a go on. But one thing that I bought that I've used already was, if you look on eBay, you can find a mini die grinder set, and they have a tiny die grinder. And what I did with it, and I've used this already and it worked a treat. I actually got that mini die grinder and I put it in a 250, this is a 250 104, which I bought by mistake one time, boring bar holder. And I sat it in there. You have two little clamps, so just nipped it up. You don't want to put any stress on it really. And so it goes in there, you turn the handle here, and that turns on and off the air, and it's a little 1/8 collet, and that's what I used to true up the 5C collet chuck. So look, that's a great idea. I'm tickled pink with it. Look, I got the idea off Rob from Xanadu, XYN, yeah, you know, in South Australia. And I saw him true up a little backing plate for his shoreline lathe, and that's when the penny dropped. I thought, God, I could do something along those lines, but that's how I chose to do it. And so that holder now will just be dedicated to this die grinder as a tool post grinder, as a mini tool post grinder, and you get a heap of little stones and things in there. And I used one of the stones yesterday, and look, that went great for $29 or something like that, and I already had the holder, but for a little tool post grinder for doing what we did yesterday, great. Like, I'm really pleased how that worked. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it in there, and that's going to be a permanent fixture. Now, look, while the postie was coming, you know, shame to him had to do them 2 trips. While I was shopping at Aussie, I saw a thing I thought might be handy, and it's a countersink set. But if you want to say a 16mm countersink, because you want to put a bolt head in or an Allen head, or for any reason at all, it has adjustable centres. Now, so you can have 16, and then you can drop a 5mm centre in to keep it true. You can go right down to, I think, 3mm centres, and the kit, the little arbors, or the little cutters, they all fit in there. There's a couple of Allen screws, tighten it up, and you can put whatever size arbor you think you need in the centre. And so not only can you have you can have a 16mm with a 3mm centre, or you can have a 10mm with a 3mm centre. And I thought that was a handy thing. So yeah, with a 16mm, you don't have to have a standard centre like on the other ones. You can adjust this by, I think it might be 0.5mm increments, or it might be millimetre. I wouldn't be sure about that, but I bought that off Aussie, and I thought, well, just to hold something true, if you wanted to countersunk a little square shoulder down in something, you could just drill yourself a pilot hole and you'd know that you were bang on. So anyway, that's what the postie brought. And while I was there, now if you're going to use your credit card, well, I don't use my credit card, but that's PayPal, but they take PayPal. If you're going to use your PayPal, you may as well bloody make it worth it, eh? And I have a little sign bar, but I've never had a set of gauge blocks. Now, I don't use it very often, so I hummed and hawed about looking for an old set of Warren and Brown Starrett, something like that. Or would I go this way? And look, I decided to go this way. A lot of the old sets have worn bits in them and things like that. I thought, well, I'd risk it with this. So it starts at 50 thou down here, and then it goes, 101, 2, 3, 4, right up to 1 inch. But I've mic'd these up. Well, I picked 3 of them. I just grabbed 3. I did 50 thou, 150 thou, and 400 thou, and they mic'd up perfectly. I couldn't see a problem with them. They have a hole in the centre of them with a little thread, and whether you could put some oil on them and just slip them together and have them hold, I don't know. I haven't tried that, but what they do offer is a little grub screw, and you can hold your block together with a little grub screw, which you would have to make sure it was clean and together with that. So you can have the grub screw sitting down under the top. Now, why they've done that, I'm not 100% sure, but you could actually make a nice big long stack with a little bit of weight to it, and the grub screw would hold it true as long as you had everything in there. I haven't checked all that out yet, but so there you go. Now look, that's just having a look around my bench. That's about all. So yeah, bloody slim pickings, really, eh? I keep chatting too much. The camera keeps dropping out. Once I get to 30 minutes. I'm supposed to stop and start and all that, but I get chatting and forget about it. So this morning the job is to clean the milling machine, clean the lathe, because when you play with a lathe and you grind on it, shit gets everywhere. And I'm probably going to pull this 5C collet chuck apart and just have it a good clean out and lubricate it up and all that sort of thing. And I'll index everything before I pull it apart and make sure. So just to make sure it's all okay, because it is Chinese and who knows what's in the back there. Might be a couple of bloody teeth off a milling machine or something. But look, I'll tidy that up. I'll tidy the lathe. I've got chips around the floor. I've got chips everywhere, and I just need to take time out and do a clean up. So that's what'll happen today. I've got my beach truck back. My lad bought another car. Judy and myself, we had a 1998 MK Mitsubishi Triton that we just call the beach truck, and it's for camping and going up the beach and fishing and all that stuff you don't want your good cars. And we lent it to them 3 or 4 years ago. Mum and Dad still paid the bills, you know, rego and insurance, but they've bought themselves another car with the extra kid coming along, and so I've got that back now. So it's a big service up, and the clear coat's gone on it, which it was gone when I bought it, and so I'm thinking of sanding that back and having a bit of a project there of a play too. So never a dull moment in Bundy Bear's shed. But look, that's all for this week. Once again, 3,000 subscribers. Thanks very much for the support. And a few of you chat to me every week, you know, leave messages and that. And I appreciate that. I look forward to messages once I put a video out. So thanks again. I suppose 4,000 is the next milestone, isn't it? I don't know how long that takes to do all this. I just chug along and yeah, see what happens. Do the best we can. So once again, thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and do all that stuff. Watch a few ads for me, and we'll catch you later next week. See ya.